Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance Network, and today we are going to talk one more time, unfortunately, about Alex Jones and InfoWars. But before we do that, I want to remind you guys to bookmark theconsciousresistance.com. Go ahead and follow our website directly so you don't have to rely on social media, and you can make sure that you're getting all of our content directly. And if you scroll down here and sign up for our email newsletter, you can get our content directly to your inbox instead of, again, chasing all of our stuff down on social media. Now, the story we're dealing with today, the topic we're going to discuss, as I said, and as the title indicates, has to do with InfoWars and Alex Jones. And it has to do with the fact that these people, InfoWars, Alex Jones, Owen Schroyer, Roger Stone, and many of the Trump loyalists are essentially continuing their calls for a civil war, for some sort of conflict between left and right. And, you know, I've covered this before. I will say, if you haven't seen our videos from the past, please go back and check this one. Warning, Alex Jones and Mike Adams are pushing a faux revolution. It's about 17 minutes long, back in September, and that'll explain a lot of what I feel about the situation. And, you know, we've just got such a handful of examples now of times that Alex Jones has been calling for civil war. Like back in July 4th, they're like, Democrats declare civil war. You know, he's a fearmonger. That's what it comes down to, right? He gives you a little bit of truth peppered in with a bunch of misinformation and disinformation. And there have people who've long suspected Alex Jones of being some kind of agent of the state. I don't know. And do I have evidence? No. Do we have the documents showing that Alex Jones works for the CIA or something else? No, we don't. But we can use all the observable clues in his actions and use our critical thinking, and we can determine that whether he is an agent of the state or simply a useful idiot, it's serving the same purpose. He is creating and stoking division. He's gone from talking about the problems of left and right and moving beyond the left and right paradigm to basically saying that, you know, the Republicans are the only answer. Of course, that's just because Trump's in power, but we'll see how Alex Jones acts once Trump's out of office. Of course, in Jones's mind, he probably would be okay with suspending the elections. He's actually said as much. Him and Mike Adams, as I pointed in this video, have talked about how President Trump needed to suspend the elections, and they're calling for mass tribunals and rounding up of people, literally calling for martial law, but not on everybody, of course. At least that's what he says. Not on the patriots, the good old patriots, just the leftists, the communists, the degenerates, and anybody else who he hates that he doesn't agree with, right? He thinks should be put into some kind of temporary concentration camp. And if you're an illegal immigrant, then we can justify the police state and surveillance state measures. Totally selling out and going backwards on anything he stated before. And I also did this video called Is a Second Civil War Really Coming, back in the beginning of October, talking about how many different outlets are just pushing this idea that a civil war is coming, a civil war is coming. And I did warn people to not fall for this trap. Don't fall for the civil war trap. I thought that the election was going to be maybe a big point of division, and it already has been so, you know. But what I think is really something we should be concerned about is what's coming. And this is what Roger Stone is talking about, and Alex Jones and his InfoWars crew are discussing in this clip. It says, exclusive, President Trump expects armed revolt if he is removed from office. And some of you may have seen a couple of weeks ago, there was a story where Trump was quoted where they basically said that the president believed that if there was an attempt to remove him from office, that that his supporters would riot in the streets or would revolt. He even said, he's like, oh, I don't think so. You know, I don't think the American people will allow it. And some people took that as kind of a wink, a whisper or a nod to his base, saying, hey guys, if they try to take me out, you know what to do. Respond with violence or respond with chaos. And unfortunately, I do think we are pushing closer and closer towards this. Now, they have cut down Alex Jones's reach and Alex Jones's audience quite a bit, but he's still reaching millions and millions of people. He still has influence to a certain sector of the population, and obviously he has close ties with Trump. Roger Stone has close ties to Trump, and they're all kind of in this thing together. And you put that together with, say, some of the QAnon supporters and the people who are blindly supporting Trump and not willing to call out his support of Saudi Arabia, Israel, his bombing of innocent children, women, and men, his expansion of the surveillance state and of the police state, his working with bankers and globalists and Bilderbergers and big telecom and all these different things, his support of the 5G rollout. When you mention these things to them, of course, they just ignore it. because they're the loyalists. These are the people that Trump is speaking to, the people that will be his base no matter what he does, no matter how egregious he acts. And he is speaking to them. You even just come here and look at some of the comments on InfoWars, and obviously this is just a sample. And some of the comments, if you come here and look at this link, say things like, well, if the president says it in a certain way, then it's obvious he means for us to revolt and to come to his aid. And I'm just going to show you a brief clip of this thing from InfoWars because I don't want to give it too much attention. Sorry, my computer's freezing up for a moment. I don't want to give them too much attention and too many views, but just listen to what they're saying here.
There's an effort to illegitimately undo the results of the last election. If they trump up phony charges as the basis for impeachment, there'll be a revolt. The president has told at least two people that I know, a very prominent publisher and another Trump intimate, that he just doesn't think the American people will stand for it, that the American people are well armed, and he believes there will be an insurrection. I don't think he's advocating an insurrection, but I think he realizes that they will cause a civil war in this country. Oh, and I haven't seen anything like this since 1974. The media tsunami of fake news focusing on a Russian real estate deal that never really happened, the Trump Foundation in New York, the constant barrage of attacks on the president, the inexorable move towards impeachment, which I think is a silent coup, and in the face of this, the president has been entirely sanguine. I think we know the reason for that. I point out to you a story about a week ago where he said, I believe correctly, that if there is an effort to illegitimately undo the results of the last election.
Now, it's not just the Alex Joneses and the Roger Stones and the Owen Schroyers and InfoWars that are calling for this. As I've pointed out in my other videos, there are lots of people who are pushing this idea of a second civil war coming, and they would like you to believe that it's right on the horizon, that we're about to go to war. The main reason I wanted to touch on this again, since I've already talked about this, is because InfoWars is again pushing it, and we are about 5 days away from the Democrats taking over, having the majority in the United States government, and they're calling for likely an impeachment of President Trump. I don't support Trump in any way, you guys know that, but I do know that his supporters, especially because of people like Alex Jones, are being heavily propagandized to go out there and fight if they try to take down Trump, because we know that much of the Russian hysteria is bullshit, is a lie, and so there are lots of people out there who understand that and who see the things they're saying about Trump and see this as just fake news, the deep state, corporate media trying to take down Trump. Now, obviously, the corporate media does have a bias against Trump, and they are warmongers. We can admit that. But it is also true that Trump does have ties to the Russians. He's been tied to the Russian mafia for years through his business dealings. So there are some, there is some truth to his connections and collusion with the Russians. Now, because of this situation and how dire it's become, the left is essentially being told that if they can't remove Trump via impeachment, then, they have to try other measures. And the right, the Trump supporters are basically saying, if they try to remove him, our president, our legitimate president that somehow overcame the establishment media and is challenging the deep state, then that's war on nationalism. That's war on the American people. And we have to come fight and stand up for him. And unfortunately, I think that a lot of the Trump supporters would actually choose to use violence, and the left has already shown that they are really capable of violence as well. So I don't know. My plea here is that in the weeks and months coming up, do not allow yourself to fall prey to this deception, to this civil war deception, the idea that the American people want to go against each other. There may be a small minority of extremists on both sides, extreme left and extreme right, and hardcore delusional Trump supporters, QAnon supporters, and hardcore delusional supporters on the other side. But that is not the average person, not by any means. Most people, thankfully, are too fucking lazy to do anything, really. Like, most people can't even be bothered to research or watch documentaries, let alone go out to the streets and fight. And to those who out there are showing pictures of, look at all the guns we got, look at this, I don't think most of you are genuinely understanding what it means to take a human life and how to go out there and kill people and to watch violence surround you. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe you've been playing too much video games and you think it's time for you to come play hero. But also Trump is playing a role. He's said things in the past that, you know, when he's encouraged his supporters to be violent and to go after hecklers at his rallies, he's said things like, I'll take care of the legal bills. Don't worry, you know, rough them up. I'll handle all your legal bills. So in some ways, many of his most delusional followers may think that he is giving them cover, that it's okay. They can act violent and they can do whatever they want and they will face no repercussions. So my whole point with making this video is just a quick check-in to say, don't fall prey to the deception. Don't allow them to delude you into falling for a civil war. Because what comes if there is, let's say that the idea of a civil war did spread across the United States. How do you think the U.S. military is going to respond? How do you think that the government's going to respond? More than likely, all of the plans that we've known about for years that people like Alex Jones used to talk about, like Rex 84 and other plans for martial law, are going to be put into place because the governments are going to realize that they cannot control their people and that there's chaos in the streets, and so they must clamp down. And that is exactly what we've known that they've wanted for years and for decades. And here you are with InfoWars and Alex Jones and Roger Stone pushing people towards that goal. They are helping the New World Order, the deep state, the shadow government, by pushing this idea that we need some sort of civil war. And I'm asking you, my friends, my brothers and sisters out there, remain strong in your hearts and your minds, and do not fall prey to this bullshit, because the real battle is against, yes, the deep state, the shadow government, but guess what? They're still in control. Donald Trump is a part of them, and until you people realize that, you're going to keep falling prey to deception. Hopefully, once Trump's out of office, some of you will realize you were duped and we can continue fighting this, but then more than likely, some of you are just going to fall prey to the other side whenever the left brings in their hero to save the day from all the destruction Trump causes. This is just how they work. This is the standard operating procedure for anybody who's paid attention for more than a couple of years. All right, I'm done. Expect a couple more videos today. Thank you guys for listening. Please do bookmark theconsciousresistance.com. And if you're listening to this on Facebook, you've only got a few days left to subscribe and follow us on other platforms. Until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.